What is up, folks? You're listening to the Texture Pop Podcast, unprofessionalism at its finest. I'm your stand-in host, Chris, and joining me is good old Brandon.
Howdy, guys.
Sam is taking a week off for whatever the fuck he's doing, and Garrett is also taking the night off, simply because he's got some business to take care of.
And now Toe's got her motorcycle husbando. She doesn't have time for romance.
What?
This week's quote from PersonaForum.tech.
You know what? For a minute there, I thought you were quoting something that might have actually been canon. Because first I had to think of, because I don't remember everybody from fucking Persona 5, or 4. 5's not out yet.
Nato's the detective.
Yeah, and I was like, is that Final Fantasy? Is that an anime thing? And I was like, oh, wait.
PersonaForums.text.
You fucking, yeah, whatever. So just the two of us tonight, whenever you're listening to this. And first things first, we got a listener question.
Alrighty. And it's from, of course, Donasis. You know him by now. He starts off, "Hey guys, I hope you had a great New Year." I did. I don't know about Charky. Did you?
Yeah, it was alright. I didn't have to go anywhere. That's usually what's a good holiday for me. I don't have to drive anywhere. Because I seriously feel sorry for people who have to fucking just do nothing but go and travel and drive like that. That sucks.
We went to my aunt's place, but she's like 10 minutes away, so it wasn't that much of a hassle.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
But, even people that, for New Year's, it's like, no, we're going to go to this party, then I got to go to this party, and then I got to pick this person up, like that.
The thing that's great with me is that all of my relatives live in the same 20-minute or so area, so I really have never traveled far to meet my family.
But not even that, but, people who, party on New Year's with friends, I've heard too many stories of people who had to be in, 5 fucking places at once on New Year's because of different friends going to different bars and different places, and it's just...
A lot of my cousins do that. I can't. I don't have that kind of patience.
Yeah, I don't care. So,
yeah,
I didn't even bother to watch the ball drop. I'll get to what I was doing though. We'll get to that. But anyway, question.
Myself, I'm about as hungover as a human being can be without dying from alcohol poisoning.
Oh god.
Anyway, on to our questions. Firstly, I want to know if any of you guys have come into contact with the game The Zoo Race. It's this really bizarre Christian video game where Noah races animals after the Great Flood. I first came into contact with it with JonTron did an episode on his show. It's just so bizarre to experience. It's this really weird combination of incompetence and brilliance I've never seen before.
Yeah, that's pretty much what he described. That's my experience with it, was the JonTron video.
Pretty much, I have the exact same experience with it, just watching that JonTron video.
Initially it wasn't the full actual review that JonTron did, but something that people will do on YouTube is just take snippets of various videos of just a reaction to post on a forum, and I saw somebody had linked me their reaction to something, and it was one little snippet out of that Zoo Race JonTron video. I was like, what the fuck is this? And then when I looked at the actual thing, and it was Zoo Race.
Yeah, it was the most bizarre thing I'd seen.
And you know what? That's on Greenlight.
Even more bizarre than anything from any of the various .text accounts I follow.
Yeah, Zoo Race is on Greenlight, and I was very certain to say nope.
I almost want to say yes just so they can put it on and I cannot buy it.
Or to see Jim Sterling rip at a new asshole. Just
yes.
Essentially. Oh, man.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much our experience with it. We can't speak for Sam or Garrett, but I'm pretty sure
Are you willing to bet that they're in the same boat?
Yep.
And he had a follow-up. As a follow-up, keeping with our biblical theme, have any of you guys seen that movie El Arca? It's that animated Argentinian movie about Noah's Ark that has this really weird mixture of childish humor and sex jokes.
Oh, yes, I have seen that, and if I know the one he's talking about, yeah, it's super dirty, and it's I can't even. I really can't even describe some of the stuff that goes on, but it is super dirty, and it does go into territory of X rating because of naughty parts of both the male and female variety.
I get the feeling that Sam and Garrett have a higher likelihood of knowing about this than I do.
Possibly.
I have no. This rang no bells for me.
This
when I
was
read
something I'd seen it from a couple of friends' journals and stuff that I follow, and I saw this and I was like, holy shit. Like, and obviously it's foreign because there's no way somebody in America would have made this. At least I don't think, but it basically it's like all of the characters are sheeps or lambs basically, and it's like
wake up sheeple.
Yeah, and it's like I said, I really can't describe it for, like, I know we talk about some stupid shit on this show, but I feel like the content of that specific animated short does cross even some of our own lines.
This is where we draw the line?
Yes, it does go into 2x, if not 3x rating stuff that goes on into it, because it's, yeah, like he had mentioned, there's like sex and all kinds of just dirty stuff, and yeah, I know what he's talking about. I never knew it by name, but I know what he's talking about.
I had no idea that any of this existed, and I'm going to just keep pretending that I do, that I still don't know if any of this exists.
Yeah. We'll just move forward with that one.
Yeah, and that's our only viewer question this week, so thank you again, Donis, for participating.
And remember,
anyone
folks,
else wants to send a question in, feel free to do so at texturepop@gmail.com. Or if you have a comment, something you want to read on the air, we'll be happy to do so since we rarely ever get any of these.
Sure. Because we're that sad. Moving right along, I thought we'd go into some news.
Go ahead.
Since it's just the two of us, Brandon.
Oh, is it? It's just the two of us.
Just the two. I can't do it. Can't do copyright. I can't sing the song.
Just the two of
No.
us.
But anyway, so first news thing I wanted to touch on was the fact of not too long after the first of the year, both Aliens Colonial Marines and Sega's 2010 Alien vs. Predator got pulled off Steam.
Yeah, I was hearing about this. I think I tweeted this earlier.
The funny thing was, I think the day after New Year's, Sam and I were playing Colonial Marines cooperatively because both of us fucking started ourselves on that road of, let's try to play through this together. It won't be too bad by ourselves. And then
I am surprised how much you guys hate yourselves.
Oh, man. At least I'm taking him with me. Especially because I think we've probably gotten past the worst parts, which was my sheer
everything
hatred of how they handle the power loader sequence. Oh my god! But still, we've got like less than half of the game to go through, and I guess a friend of mine had messaged me on Steam asking if it was worth $5, and I was like, as a curiosity, maybe. But then he basically told me, he was like, it's not even on Steam. I was like, that can't be. But then I looked it up, and I'm sure people were throwing around their theories of, like, is Steam actually trying to do quality control? But no. I'm very certain the main reason for that being is because probably whatever rights deals that Sega had with 20th Century Fox probably expired. Yeah, although, now Alien Isolation is still up, obviously, because that game's not even a year old. So
yeah, well, that would be great if they're doing quality control now, wouldn't it? That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, but that's not. I don't think that's happening anytime soon.
That's never going to happen.
I know Air Control got pulled off, probably because of all the negative attention that it was getting, rightfully so. But
yeah,
I need to look this up now because I think other Aliens and Predator games that weren't published by Sega might still be up. But then again, I think those ones actually were published by 20th Century Fox, if I'm not mistaken. I have to.
Who, of course, are the owners of that particular brand.
Yep. I'd have to. It's probably going to take me a while because I'd have to pull up Steam and see like what actual games might still be listed there. Because I know for a time, because they were selling like the old ass like fucking 2002 AVP game, which is good. Those games are great. But like that 2010 one from Sega, I actually did purchase that one on a sale once. It's still on my account, and then I didn't install it because it's like, we need 10 gigs, and I said, nope. I will worry about that another time.
Yeah.
But you know, the whole thing with like licensing rights and all that, it gets messy.
It's a very complicated business, to be sure.
Yeah. Aliens vs. Predator Classic 2000 is still listed on Steam. So you can still get that. Which, you know, if you don't mind blocky-ass 2000 PC graphics, it's worth looking into.
Yeah, I probably won't look into it, but I'm sure someone who works in the Aliens franchise will.
I know, like, on kind of a related note, this was the same reason, like, a lot of Marvel games got pulled, I think, a year before.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, like, Deadpool got taken down, like, they had taken down...
Capcom.
Yeah, a lot of those games. Like, and the thing, like, the whole legalese of it being is that they can't sell it on digital marketplaces because the legal term basically states that, you know, you're not allowed to produce any more copies of it. So, like, you know, I myself,
and
because
when you buy something on a digital store, you're essentially like getting a copy of the game, just in digital format instead of in a physical format, even though it's just the same file, just getting copied.
And granted, for people who like have those games on their account, it's always going to be on your account. You can still download them. Like, I can still download Deadpool on Steam if I want to, although...
Or Colonial Marines.
Yes, or case. AVP, yeah, exactly. Like, I bought those games incredibly cheap, but I still have access to them.
But no one will be able to purchase them any further.
Yeah, and the same thing applies to you know, anything like on Xbox Live or PSN. You know, if you have those games on your account, you can always download them again, but they are not available for sale.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
so no one's losing anything right now.
No, but it does make me,
for the record,
does make me kind of hope that I can get Alien Isolation sooner, because I don't want to wait until that gets pulled down also, or whatever deal expires there. So
yeah,
it does. That's the big thing that kind of makes me worry about the digital storefront, is how long like, and the thing is, I think this really just only applies to licensed stuff, you know? Like, I'm sure, like, first party stuff, I mean, it could happen there, but
it's very rare, though.
Yeah, because when it comes to like stuff that's off a licensed franchise and a separate property, obviously that stuff comes into play.
There are a lot of contract disputes in that area.
Yeah, it's the same reason why you don't see like re-releases of like you know, stuff from like the original PlayStation or N64 that probably doesn't get ported over again because of license disputes and the like. So
yeah, even like if it's not just licensed products, just like a lot of old games, since the rights have been transferred and moved around so heavily, just locating who actually owns the copyright to a franchise that was like 10 or 15 years old is almost impossible. That's why GOG had so much trouble getting a lot of those old games onto their service. Yeah, because they had to locate the rights owners, and that was a very Herculean task.
You want to look up something funny? Try to find out who owns the rights to Double Dragon. The answer is no one and everyone. That's oh man. No, you will seriously laugh your ass off. Like, you look into like how many times Double Dragon as a franchise has passed hands.
I'm sure it's passed hands several thousand times.
Any new stuff that you wanted to bring up?
There were two things. The first is Keiji Inafune has announced that he is almost finished with Mighty Number 9.
Yeah, that's supposed to be coming out this year, isn't it?
Yeah, right. Right now, he's in the phase where he's just polishing up everything he's already developed.
I hope they're not rushing it. Like, the thing that had me a little bit worried about Mighty Number 9 was, like, sometime after, you know, the massive success that was their Kickstarter campaign, where they hit every stretch goal they wanted to hit, if not beyond, they were already talking about, like, whatever kind of franchise and license deals they could work out for, like, animation and stuff, and I'm like... Or like a cartoon, or
too soon.
Yeah, and it's like, you haven't even put out the first game yet, man. Like, I don't know if that's just how they do business, but it's like, it's a little too soon to start saying that this is going to be the next big thing just because a lot of people threw money at it. There's been a lot of stuff on Kickstarter that happened like that. Remember how much money the Ouya made?
Yeah, remember how much money it didn't make after that?
No. Oh, man. Did you buy an Ouya?
I did not.
Because I don't know anybody that did. Man.
And, I also wanted to bring that up because I wanted to think. I was like as a thought experiment. Does it technically count as a ripoff of Mega Man, my number 9? Because it's technically made by this person who made Mega Man.
I don't think you can say that they're...
Like, not legally speaking, of course it's not, but like...
I mean, it kind of is. Yes and no. I mean, the funny misconception a lot of people have is that Keiji Inafune was the guy that came up with Mega Man. No, he is not. He was an artist, and he was one of the guys that helped with the design, but he is not the genius. He's not the guy that came up with Mega Man. At the time, Inafune, when he wanted to come up with an original idea for Mega Man, when they did Mega Man X, his original concept of Mega Man was too abstract and too different, and they just made that character Zero. And then with Mega Man X, yeah. You look at Zero, that's what Inafune's original concept of a new Mega Man would have been. But it was way too far off from what they originally wanted to do, so they made X look more like, blue and like original Mega Man. So, but yeah, I can't think of the dude's name. Just Inafune is the guy that gets brought up all the time when it comes to Mega Man, even though, as I said, it's a misconception that he was the guy that came up with him, when it is not the case.
I didn't actually know that. That's interesting.
Yeah, you can look. I mean, you can look it up. There is another guy who was responsible for the actual creation of the character and who really did come up with Mega Man. But like Inafune, and not to talk bad about him, I mean, I think he's a good guy and he's made good stuff. He's a talented artist, but it's just the whole thing of he's not the creator of Mega Man. So.
Yeah, so I brought that up mostly because I thought you guys would be interested in that since this is kind of like our thing. And I kind of wish Sam or Garrett were here because I know they'd have something to say about that as well.
Yeah. As far as Mighty Number 9, it's like, obviously it is paying homage to Mega Man style gameplay. Obviously. And for a number of reasons. But you also kind of have to keep in mind of there are a number of games that use the same formula that Metroid did. How many other games use the same elements of Mario?
And that's what we call the Metroidvania games.
Yep, Castlevania, all that stuff. So I don't think you can say. I mean, there's a lot of people say like, "Oh, this is just ripping off GTA," even just because of the fact that you can run around a city and get in cars.
I guess that's an interesting question. And at what point does it become a ripoff? And at what point does it become someone that's paying homage to it? Like, what is the distinction there? Mm-hmm. That's an interesting question. I don't really have an answer for it.
There is a line. I just don't know what it is.
And aside from that story, the other one I wanted to talk about is that they released a new trailer for Final Fantasy 15, formerly known as Versus 13.
Oh, man.
And they revealed that the Cid in this game, because every Final Fantasy has a Cid in it.
Oh, yeah, I heard about this.
Is a woman.
Mm-hmm.
A female mechanic.
Yep.
And people are pissed off, and I have no idea why.
Like, of all the things to be mad about, like, why? Like, it's kind of like recently. It was recently revealed how in Doctor Who, a recurring villain known as the Master was made into a woman. Because to make a long story short, and to kind of briefly explain this, both the Doctor and the Master belong to a race of alien beings called the Time Lords. They can regenerate, and when they do that, they turn into different people. It's never been seen that a Time Lord would go from being man to woman, but they recently did that in the current running series of Doctor Who, where the Master, a Time Lord villain, went from being a man to a woman. So, and I guess, like, producer didn't even go on record saying, like, that's not something that would be considered out of the question for the Doctor himself, but he's not sure when that would happen. Yeah, I would be interested to see that. Like, what a female Doctor would be like. But yeah, but it's like, like what is the tradition for Sid though? Like what are they like?
Traditionally, she's just a guy named Sid. There is no tradition other than that. He's just the dude named Sid. That's the only thing.
It's just it's like
he
stuff like
been a different character. He's been different. He's always been technical minded.
Yeah.
Every game he's in every version of Sid, but aside from that, there really is not much of a distinction.
No, and it's stories like these is when you see all the bigoted fucknuggets come out of the woodwork and be like, "Oh, that's not the way it should be."
Although there's also commentary from the opposite side of the spectrum, and that she's too scantily clad. Even though she's wearing basically like a t-shirt and Daisy Dukes, like you'd see in like those, what was the fucking name of those movies?
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
Those old style like car movies where they had the woman like in Daisy Dukes and the tie up t-shirt. What do you call those?
I'm sure there's a name for it, but I don't even know.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Like fucking Smokey and the Bandit? I don't know.
Yes, something like that.
Yeah. Just something with like a lot of... Yeah, I think with the whole sexing up of females, that's just JRPGs.
It depends on what kind of mood they're trying to go for.
Yeah.
Like, if that outfit in a fantasy setting, I wouldn't go for, but if it's like something that's trying to pay homage to those kinds of films, it may make total sense.
I have to look this up now. But yeah, I mean, with how she's dressed, that's just JRPGs in general, and that's a whole nother problem right there. But yeah, Sid, like gender swapping characters, I don't think is a bad thing.
Yeah.
Forgot what I was looking for. FF.
I have a link to the trailer. I can show it to you either now or we can wait till after the cast.
Probably after the cast. I just want to find like what the images of this will look like.
Oh.
Come on, Google Images, work with me. But I guess I'll move on to something else, unless you had something else you wanted to mention.
I have nothing further to add.
Oh! Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, you see?
Yep, I'm looking at it. That's... emphasis on the cleavage there.
Yeah.
And the... Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like I said, I take no issue with the fact that that Sid is now a woman, but... man, that outfit. That's...
Yeah. You can see where some of the complaints come from.
Mm-hmm.
But again...
But like I said, I think...
I don't mind it unless like it clashes with the tone they're going for.
Yeah, we'll have to see. So
yeah.
So with that, the other thing I was going to mention is, especially at the time when this video goes up, we're pretty much in the middle of Awesome Games Done Quick 2015 marathon, and I'm excited. Oh man. Like it's at the time we're recording this, it's Sunday, and it just started for us, and this will be posted up on Tuesday. Trust me, it will. And basically, yeah. And if you haven't heard of it, Awesome Games Done Quick is when a bunch of speedrunners get together and they raise money to help for cancer prevention. Really awesome cause, and I've mentioned in previous episodes how fascinated I am with guys who practice at single games and learn the ins and outs of them. I mean, and in some cases, some of these guys will look at the game's code, and in some cases, like some of the people who speedrun these games, they know more than the fucking developers. It's insane. Like
it's crazy how much you learn through speedrunning one single game.
And something I'll mention was earlier today I'd seen they did a speedrun for the original Banjo-Kazooie from the N64, and that's also another big thing about speedrunning is that they are very specific on what version of a game they will play, especially even like between Japanese and US versions of the games,
or where they're US and PAL.
Yeah, exactly. When there might be some specific glitches that you could only find in those versions, but something that was kind of interesting was they did a speed run for Banjo-Kazooie for the N64, and they actually had Grant Kirkhope, who was a composer and worked for Rare at the time when those games were made. And Grant Kirkhope, like I said, he's a composer. He did work on both those Banjo games as well as Donkey Kong Country 64. A lot of stuff that Rare did, and he's also currently doing some stuff for a couple of indie games that are coming out soon. So some good stuff there. But yeah, it's interesting. Like, he's talking to these guys as they're running through this game, and like they're just bringing up some of the stuff that he had no idea about. But also, they managed to learn something from him. Like, there's I can't remember what it's called, but there's a stage that takes place in like a haunted house, and there's an organ, and there's like a gigantic organ, you have to run across the keys and like stomp on the keys to make certain notes. And the guys speedrunning the game never knew why the notes always sound different. And as Grant Kirkhope explained, was that they wanted the notes that you play on the organ to go with the background music.
Oh, sweet.
That is genius. And as Grant Kirkhope had said, it was a pain in the arse to do. I
remember watching a couple of Spyro LPs from Spyro speedruns on YouTube, and I did not realize how many glitches were in those old PS1 games.
They're doing Spyro later this week. That's on the schedule.
Oh man, I've got to watch that.
And tomorrow they're doing Monday they're doing PS3 games of like Uncharted and Infamous, the Halloween one, Blood Harvest.
The old Crash Bandicoot 1. There are a lot of glitches that you can exploit.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize, and that's a very hard game just in general, let alone just to speed.
Yeah, that original game, holy shit. But then again, I guess it depends on like what the run is you're doing, because there are some guys, like I said, the Banjo-Kazooie run, they were going for 100% every fucking collectible in that game, which blows.
And if you do that for like the original Crash Bandicoot game, you earned respect if you 100% that legitimately.
Ooh, yeah, I still remember you explaining why exactly that is so difficult.
I will tell you why. Because in Crash 2 and 3, you get the gem by getting all the blocks in the level, right? You know that.
Yes.
In the original game, how they set up is that you had to get all of the boxes in a level, and you could not die during the level. You had to get an absolutely perfect run to get the gem.
Yeah, I remember this now.
Because if you died, every single box in level reset. Except for the checkpoint that you got.
Oh, man. Yeah.
So if you wanted to get 100%, you had to get it in a single life.
Some PS1 games, even like the good ones, had some dumb shit that I think made them way harder than they should have been.
There is a reason why 2 and 3 are like a lot better than 1 is.
I will agree to that. 3 was my favorite.
I like 2, but that's basically comparing apples to apples.
Yeah. It's like
both games are really excellent in their own right.
If Sam were here, he'd say that's why Persona 3 is the best in the series.
Of course, he is objectively wrong. That time he is objectively wrong.
He's not here to defend it, but yeah, awesome games done quick. I'll post a link in the description of this very video because you can watch those at gamesdonequick.com or their Twitch TV channel.
What you should do is you should instead post the link in the last video we did.
Why?
Just to fuck with people.
No, because we didn't talk about it then. And Sam already posted it.
You can edit the post.
I don't care. Anyway, so unless you got any other news, I think now we can get into our usual shenanigans.
I think this is a good time to switch to our usual shenanigans.
So, Brandon, what the hell did you do? Because I know I think this is our first cast of the year, isn't it?
Yes, it's the first cast 2015.
Yeah, this is the first one we've done, so how'd your holiday weekend and everything go, and what'd you do?
It was a good holiday weekend. I didn't get scheduled to work at all this week, which meant I had a lot of free time on my hands. So I finally beat Persona Q.
Oh man, how many hours did that take you?
70.
Whoo! Woo!
Like, how much? My God, did it start to grate on my nerves.
Like, how much of the side shit did you do? Like,
as much as I could.
Oh God! Well, there's your problem.
Yeah.
You did the side quest.
Just completion, beating one of the game's 6 dungeons will take you about 6 hours alone.
Yeah, I remember you talking about how much you have bitched at length about how fucking long those dungeons
I wrote an article on it this week about Persona Q Shadow of the Pacing.
Oh, man.
God, that game, it got really hard towards the end, because, like, for me, a huge thing I like about RPGs is story, and that is a very, very light on story game.
Ooh. So it's all just grinding.
For the most part, like, there are a lot of, like, scenes where your characters interact with each other, and it's just kind of, like, funny stuff, but it's not really affecting the plot.
Yeah, because wasn't the big deal the fact that this was supposed to be canon?
It's canon, technically, but once the adventure ends, all of the parties involved lose their memory of it.
Ah! It's one of those.
So technically it could be considered canon, but effectively it doesn't matter.
It's kind of like X-Men Days of Future Past, where they just wrote out all the shitty movies. Just It's like it didn't even fucking happen.
Yeah, so yeah, having these characters drive each other, it's pretty cool, and they have some funny moments, but, like, the story itself is honestly not that terribly interesting.
So essentially the lead character from Persona 3 is still going to kill himself, like...
Yeah.
So,
and it's funny, because towards the end, he goes to the P4 protagonist and goes, "I'm pretty sure we'll see each other again." And I'm just sitting there thinking, no, you won't.
Oh, no.
No, you won't.
'Cause I think both you and Sam got all up in arms when you heard about Persona Q when it was first announced. Sam especially, because of how much his love of Persona 3 is well documented on this podcast.
Yes.
Yeah,
which is funny, because when you look at the Giant Bomb Quick Look, it's pretty much all them trolling him unknowingly. Because I remember a scene where Jeff just looks at the Persona 3 protagonist and goes, "This guy is fucking lame."
Nope. He ain't no Charlie Tanoku.
Name him Chuck Tuna, because you can't put fucking 6 letters in the name. It's annoying.
Nope. Oh, man. So now I just gotta wait and see when Dance All Night comes out.
So yeah, honestly, unless you're like a diehard fan of both Persona Q and Etrian Odyssey, you can pass on this game, honestly, because it takes a lot from Etrian Odyssey, and I didn't know this at the time I bought it. And Etrian Odyssey is an RPG series that I probably would not like, given my experience with Persona 2.
I think
it's basically all grinding.
Yeah, because I think you had mentioned this before, and I won't be surprised if a lot of people go into this mostly because they're Persona fans and have no idea what the fuck Etrian Odyssey even is.
Like, there's enough because it is just all Persona in terms of, like, plot that keep you interested throughout the whole thing, but it's really tiresome. It starts to hurt after a while.
Yeah, but, you know, it's a long and involving game for the people who wanted a long and involving game.
And like, when it comes to, like, the fighting mechanics and all that, they're really solid. It's really fun to actually, like, participate in battles, but you participate in so many of them that it starts to get just a little bit more tedious as you go on, gradually going on and on.
Final boss has, 10 fucking phases, and then each one...
Oh, he only has 2, thank Christ. And fortunately, because because a lot of the problem with the games that you explore the floors, you take a lot of time doing that. So by the time I finished the game, I was really, really over-leveled because I was exploring the floor because I couldn't figure out what the fuck to do. And then by the end of the boss, I just kind of, like, killed him in, like, 5 turns.
Wow.
Mostly because I had the DLC Persona, which made it easier than it probably should have been.
There's DLC for this?
Yes. There's 2 Persona that are free DLC. Kaguya, which from Persona 4, and Orpheus Telos from Persona 3.
I'm not going to complain about free.
And the other 2 are paid DLC, which is Thanatos from Persona 3 and Magatsu Izanagi from Persona 4.
And I'll complain about those.
DLCs that I didn't pay for, but are still in the game, are Navigator DLCs, where you can change the voice of the person guiding you in the labyrinth to either Marie, any of the Velva siblings, or Nanako.
What?
Yeah, even though Nanako is not even in this game at all, so like one scene in the beginning of the game, one scene at the end of the game, she can be your navigator's voice for, I think, $2.99.
Sounds like some Arc System Works shit. Like,
yeah.
Going back to, like, P4 Arena, or more recently, Guilty Gear Xrd.
As I've been doing this weird thing with DLC lately, I'm not entirely sure I am okay with it. Like, if SMT4 had a lot of DLC on it, too. A lot.
Yeah, and based on what I just looked up, Etrian Odyssey has only been on, like, DS and 3DS. And there have been about 4 games.
Because, like, the thing with Etrian Odyssey and this thing is Persona Q is that it's all about exploring this large area and drawing a map of it as you progress through it.
Oh, yeah, I remember this. Yep, you talked about this.
You pretty much need the DS's touchscreen to do that in a way that makes any sort of intuitive sense.
Oh, shit. Yep. Yeah, fuck that.
The thing is that, like, exploring the floor and getting a good map of it takes about an hour.
It's like I don't live in the fucking 80s playing original Metroid with my damned graph paper.
But assuming you have a good enough map, actually solving the puzzle on the floor would take about 10-15 minutes at the most. The majority of your time is spent just filling out the map.
Yeah, like, I can't help but feel like dungeons would be a lot shorter if you didn't have to fill the fucking map in. Like,
they would be. I can freaking guarantee it.
Like, it's almost as if they advertise the idea that taking a step backwards is a innovative feature to them.
And there is some pride you can get in filling out a map, but after a while it just also gets on the tedious side.
Yep. Why would you? Draw the map, idiot.
It's just, yeah, I like that the games tend to do that for me in the modern era.
Yeah. Yeah. So what else did you play?
Since I got it this December, I decided I would start playing Kingdom Hearts 2.5.
Oh, I've seen you playing that.
Yeah. I watched Recoded, because that's the one that is just the movie.
Yeah, which Recoded, for folks who don't know, was actually a Kingdom Hearts game that was put on mobile phones before smartphones. Like,
and then later it went to the DS.
Yeah, and to many it is considered like the worst out of the series for very good reasons.
It's shit.
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't even play it, but just watching it, it's terrible.
Yeah, like I said, this was something that was put on mobile phones, and like I said, before smartphones. Like, think about that. When people had to play... People in Japan... I think it only came out on mobile phones in Japan. Like, any kind of American release we got was that DS version, which, again, you're taking a mobile phone game and porting it onto the DS. Obviously, it's not going to be that great. But I guess they figured for people who wanted it, here you go.
Now, I'm going to explain the entire story of this game, because it's not going to take very long, I guarantee you.
Please do.
Basically, Jiminy's journal from Kingdom Hearts 1 got wiped after the events of Chain of Memories.
Oh, no.
And he saw a message in there that he doesn't remember writing in. So he digitizes it, puts it in a computer system, and it's all glitchy. So they fix the glitches, and they reveal that every single person who has ever suffered in the entire world of Kingdom Hearts can be saved by Sora.
Everyone?
Everyone. All the people that ever got hurt at any point in time in this franchise.
Holy shit. Even the people in Birth by Sleep?
Especially the people in Birth by Sleep.
Shit!
So, King Mickey sends Sora a letter that you see him get at the ending of Kingdom Hearts 2.
Oh god, they tie it to that.
Yes.
Wow.
And that is... I just summed up the entire plot of this game in a couple sentences.
Doesn't it do with, like, the idea of they make a digitized version of a younger Sora?
No, they take the digital version that's in Jiminy's journal already.
Okay.
And use him to fight all the glitches.
Wow.
Any other detail that's in that plot you do not need to know is completely irrelevant.
Pretty much no, because, like I had said, this was something that was originally made for mobile phones, and much in the same way that Chain of Memories was, it was a way of, oh look, we made Kingdom Hearts again, but on this different platform. So here's all the shit we did in that first Kingdom Hearts, like Aladdin, and Nightmare Before Christmas, and Ariel, and Beauty and the Beast, blah blah blah. All that stuff. Remember that? That was in there. We did this. You could do it again.
Yeah, Coded was not great. It was, in fact, really bad.
I imagine it was shorter to watch that than it was the fucking
It took fucking 5 hours.
Ooh! Ooh! It's way too long than I expected.
Yeah. It's longer than it should have been, quite frankly.
Ouch. Like, 365, 354 over 2, like...
That took me about 3 hours to watch.
Yeah, oh my god, and that's shorter. That was like a fleshed out game, even.
Yeah. Yeah, I fucking know.
Oh,
See,
man.
I was left kind of mad about Coded at the end of it.
That trophy wasn't worth it.
I got 100% on the game because the game is just watching all the fucking cutscenes.
I love how they actually feel the need to award your percentage of completion. It's like you watched this whole damn thing.
The trophies are 25%, 50%, 75%, 100% complete.
It's like you watched this whole thing.
Trophies. That's the name of all 4 of the trophies.
You watched it all, idiot. You.
Oh, it's terrible. It's so bad.
Oh man. It's so dumb.
But I have, as of about 3 hours ago, as the time of this recording, beaten Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix.
Nice. And
that was fun. I really enjoyed getting back to that game. And they added a lot of stuff.
And I know
Final Mix.
You yourself, I know you had a number of complaints over Kingdom Hearts 2 and how you felt like it was a worse game than 1 because
in terms of plot, in terms of gameplay, it's objectively better.
Yeah,
it plays so much smoother.
Yeah, I will say that because I went back to original Kingdom Hearts when I picked up the HD re-release, and the thing was, I was fresh off of completing Kingdom Hearts 2 on my PS2.
Yeah,
and I just felt like I was like, oh man.
And if I had to choose between playing through Kingdom Hearts 1 or playing the Kingdom Hearts 2 again, I'd choose Kingdom Hearts 2 because again, it just plays so much better.
Yeah, a lot of the mechanics and everything just felt better. I mean, I can kind of excuse them for what they were learning when they made that first Kingdom Hearts game. You know, they were trying to figure that out and what to come up with. And it was kind of a balancing act.
I do appreciate in Kingdom Hearts 1 that the combat felt had a bit more weight to it than Kingdom Hearts 2. I felt Kingdom Hearts 2 feels kind of floaty at times.
Mm-hmm.
But aside from that, I like Kingdom Hearts 2's combat a lot more. Especially with the stuff they added in Final Mix.
How's that Birth by Sleep, or did you even touch that yet?
I haven't played that yet. I am going to get to that this week.
Did you play that on PSP?
I did. Got 100% in that game on the PSP with all 3 characters.
Nice.
That includes beating those bullshit bonus bosses as Terra, and if any of you has played that game, you know how tough it is playing bonus bosses as Terra.
Optional bosses in a Square game are always, I'm going to murder you.
See, that's all there is to it. With Ven and Aqua, they have dodge moves that if you just mash square, you can get pretty much infinite invincibility frames until you're ready to attack, until you find an opening. With Terra, he gets a slide move that will give you a couple of seconds of vulnerability at the end of the move, and you cannot get out of that.
Oh man!
Like when you slide, you're committing to the slide, and that's his dodge move, and it's a little frustrating because that couple seconds of invincibility is non-invincibility is oftentimes all the enemy needs to get you from full HP down to 1.
Gotta find them invincible frames.
Yeah, those in Birth by Sleep, those frames are really important.
Yep. It's like speedrunning or fighting games.
Yeah.
Gotta find them frames, son.
But yeah, going back to 2, I do have my complaints about 2, but I'm going to get to the stuff they added to Final Mix, which was really cool. One of the things they added a new drive form, new transformation, called Limit Form. And what it does is that you can transform even when all your allies are incapacitated, because it doesn't require your allies' help at all. Unlike the other drive forms, you sacrifice your friends to change. And it basically gives you all of Sora's old Kingdom Hearts 1 moves. And the gimmick is that when he's performing one of the special attacks, like Sonic Blade or Strike Raider, etc., he will get his HP back if the attacks hit. In exchange, he cannot use magic in that form at all.
Yeah, and I know, like,
committing to just using sword strikes.
And I know,
And so-
like, some of the other content that got added was, like, there are some different Keyblades that weren't in the game originally, and...
Yeah, and do you remember the scene at Kingdom Hearts 2 where Sora and Roxas fight just before the final boss, for final dungeon?
Yeah.
That's playable in Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix.
Hmm.
And that is a hard-ass fight. Of course, I played on critical mode, which is the new difficulty they added that's harder than Proud.
Ugh.
So that probably might be, to some degree, my own fault.
I think it is your fault. Like,
Yeah.
no, it just is. It's...
Yeah. But it's also a really fun fight.
But yeah, so Kingdom Hearts 2 is still good.
Yeah, and Atlantica is still shit.
I hated that most of anything in that whole... when I played that.
I hate it because it makes all the mistakes you could possibly have made.
Yep.
Like, the musicals are really annoying. I didn't I want to be honest with you.
Yeah, like transferring the musicals into a minigame, yeah, it's annoying. Although the other thing is that as long as they're using songs from the actual film, stuff that Disney composers wrote, that's not that bad. But like the original shit they had to come up with, like that first one of...
And the last one's also unique.
Yeah. Like the new ones that came up with, those are just horrible. Like...
Even worse, the volume is slightly raised during the musicals. I don't know if you noticed that, but I noticed that they were just a little bit louder than the rest of the game. So I would have to physically go in and turn down the volume of my TV before playing musicals, because otherwise I would get annoyed, and I'd almost certain my parents would listen. And
What do you not have a remote? What?
I do.
You make it sound like turning down the volume is such
annoying that they make it just slightly louder than the rest of the game. I don't have to do any other thing in the game.
This just makes it sound like, oh, I gotta fucking turn the volume down. Oh, shit.
Yeah, I don't want my parents listening to me watching part of your world. That's not a conversation that's not a thing to explain
it's
away.
Like, oh, turning this down is so hard.
I mean, it's not as bad as Coded, but it's bad. Another thing that pissed off in that section in particular, and I always like to rant about this when I get a chance to, is that it basically ignores everything that happened with Atlantica in the original Kingdom Hearts 1.
Yeah, I remember you and I discussing this once.
It was like, you see Ariel turn to Ursula for help, and like, why would you do that after what happened in the first time you did this very same thing? And Ursula, weren't you dead?
Yeah, not to mention the whole thing of, like, the ending of it. Like, they don't even use the ending in the movie. They just do this whole thing of, like, oh, I'm a mermaid, I can't be with you. And, like, the prince dude just jumps in. He's like, oh, I always need to learn how to swim. Like, wait a minute. Like, isn't she supposed to have legs? Oh,
That's
no.
That's pretty much the entire problem with Kingdom Hearts 2 is that they are very slavishly adhering to the movie plots of a lot of the world.
And some of
when
them,
they don't, it's bad.
Yeah, although granted, some of it works, like the Nightmare Before Christmas stuff. Like that was really good.
That actually worked.
Yeah,
at least they acknowledged that you were there before and you did things.
Yeah, and Lion King and all that stuff, and
yeah, but like even the things that sometimes it does work, like Mulan. If you're playing through that world, you're basically replaying the entire movie.
Yeah, I think
from start to finish, or I'm sorry, like an abridged version of that movie.
Yeah, like, and I think
that hard too.
I mean, I think it was either because that's what they wanted to do, or they were afraid to deviate too far from stuff.
They did a fine job in the first game.
Yeah. Also, Tron, that section, that was obviously my favorite thing. Like,
that was really good.
And again, this probably just speaks to the era I've come from and where I was born in, but like the backgrounds, the world, everything, like the skyboxes, like I could look at that shit forever.
And I saw that movie after I played Kingdom Hearts 2.
Oh man.
They did that movie more justice than it probably should have had.
I'm gonna ask you something. What were your impressions after you saw that film? Like,
oh, this is where it came from. It was a good movie, don't be wrong, but like, if I had to choose between the style they had in the movie and the style of Kingdom Hearts 2, I'd pick the Kingdom Hearts 2 like renderings.
Yeah, here's my thing about Tron. Like, I like that movie, but I acknowledge the fact that the story is not that great, and it obviously has pacing problems and the like, and it can be just downright boring. Like, sometimes there's just times where like nothing happens, but I love the look of it. And
they did a really good job of weaving that world into like the Hollow Bastion's overall story arc.
Oh yeah, I thought that was really good.
Kingdom Hearts 2. That was really cool, and I appreciated that.
Fun fact about that movie: it was filmed in black and white, which was how they pulled off the effect that they had.
And they physically colored it in.
Yep, which was weird, but
you could notice that after a while, though. It actually kind of threw me out of the movie a couple times, that the way they did it.
Did you ever see Legacy?
I did not.
Legacy's all right. I'd say it's worth watching just to check it out, especially now that you've seen the first film. Like, give it a look just to see what you think. I didn't hate it. I know there are a lot of people that were kind of hating on it and all this stupid bullshit, but I thought it was okay. Yeah, I see the problems that people have with it, especially with like logic and continuity and the like. But it's still okay. It's not bad.
And the other worlds were not too bad. Beast Castle was okay, although again that felt too much like going through the movie.
Yeah.
Olympus Coliseum, they did pretty good. They brought back Auron, who was the best character of Final Fantasy X. No, I will not have any objections to that. You have anything to say? With the Coliseum, how they brought Auron back from Final Fantasy X as a cameo.
Oh, no, I was just going to say Kamaru's best character. But anyway.
and that was a pretty good story. They pulled that off fairly well. Port Royal, that felt a lot like just going to the movie.
Yeah, that was easily like one of the most boring parts to me. Like,
that was, and that's kind of a shame, because that's a pretty good source material to draw on for a Kingdom Hearts game.
Port Royal, for those who don't know, that's basically the section they based off of Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah,
because they had to.
I guess there's not much you really could do with that aside from just going to the movie, though. Not think about it. I can't really see where else to go.
Because that was the new thing at the time when that game originally came out. Was
although the second half of that, when they brought the organization stuff in, wasn't bad.
No,
like how they had the organization take advantage of the curse of the Aztec gold to make undead Heartless that couldn't die. That was actually pretty interesting.
Yeah. So.
That's the weird thing, that they did the first half of the game where you just basically go through all the movies that they draw from, and the second half was you resolve actual problems that are relevant to the story at hand.
Yeah, like finding out like who Ansem really was and all this crazy bullshit that was going on, and Christopher Lee is so fucking good. That is the guy who voices I'm thinking of. Yeah, Chris Lee.
He voiced Ansem the Wise.
Yes, he's so fucking good.
Yeah, he is really good in that role. Yeah. Again, it's overall a really good game. I just have a lot of like small complaints every once in a while. Like the couple things just don't make sense.
Yeah, I'm sure we could.
Even like the whole thing where people go through different worlds. If you think about it, like with a lot of the ways people react, it doesn't really make sense.
And their gummy ship, which I still can't stand.
It's like when you get there and you sit there and go, "What do they eat?" You're surprised how many things you can bring up just by asking one simple question: what do they eat?
Going to Tron, it's like, what the fuck do you eat?
It's like Olympus Coliseum. Bits. This is great. You fight all the time, but what do you eat?
Mutton? I don't know. Fucking ancient Greece, man. They eat wine. That's all they eat. Just wine.
They've managed to powder wine, and they just eat it whole.
Yep. They eat all the wine.
Without mixing it.
That's our show title for this week. Eat all the wine. Although, isn't that just grapes?
Yeah, it's just fermented grapes.
Oh, man. I'm sure we could be on Kingdom Hearts 2 all day. Would you play anything else?
I didn't, but I watched a couple things. I finished off my my movie list.
Oh, man.
I watched X-Men Days of Future Past.
That movie's alright.
That was a good movie. I appreciated it.
Yeah.
I don't really have much more to say about it besides that it was an alright movie.
Yeah. Gotta love how they were able to, again, conveniently write out the shitty films.
Yeah.
Of, hey, remember X3 and how much you hated Wolverine? Well, you don't have to worry about those. Those aren't even continuity anymore. So,
I also watched Kick-Ass.
That's also an alright movie.
Nicolas Cage plays a very good psychopath.
Because Nicolas Cage is a psychopath. I don't know if you know this. I
didn't know it until very, very recently.
Yeah, if you had any inkling that man was sane, you were absolutely wrong.
He might have been sane at one point in time. I don't think that's true anymore.
No, then he filmed Vampire's Kiss, and then it just all went downhill. It was either that, or he was just born crazy, like out of the womb. Just
I saw his performance in Ghost Rider 2.
Oh God, that one. That movie, like, who was the other guy? Was it Idris Elba?
I don't know.
It was him and like I want to say it was Idris Elba, but I'm probably wrong. But there's another African American guy in there, and it just seems like him and Nicolas Cage are just trying to out crazy one another. Like that was just my impression of that film. Like holy shit.
Oh my God, Nicolas Cage can crazy like the best of them.
He's knocking at the door.
He might just be the best of them when it comes to crazying things.
All I know is, if you want to see Nicolas at his cagiest, go watch Vampire's Kiss. Like,
Cagey Nicolas Cage.
If Garrett was here, he'd agree fully with me. He'd know very well what I'm talking about when I mention Vampire's Kiss.
And the last thing I watched, and I saved this for the last movie in my pile, is I watched Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, you were right to save that one for last.
And I was blown away.
That movie's so fucking good!
I had a great time with it.
Oh, man. That movie's great!
Yeah, it was a great movie.
Didn't you love the fact that, despite the fact that Vin Diesel really only gets one line to say as Groot, he gets the best line of the movie?
We are Groot.
Oh, God! Not a dry eye in the house.
I like the scene afterwards where he's just dancing in the pot.
Oh, yeah.
Back.
Yeah. That was great. And I loved how they were just right up front, like, Guardians of the Galaxy will return. Bet your ass they will.
Yeah.
That movie. What's funny about that movie is that was Marvel's victory dance. Because did you see the post-credit scene?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, it's just Howard the Duck. Just.
And I thought Chris Pratt was a great as the lead role.
He used to be homeless.
He was really good, and I enjoyed his character and how he was pretty much out for the money at first, and then just grew into the fact that he has to be a hero.
Yeah, which is
no one else will be.
Which is kind of the same for all of them except Drax, because Drax is just this dude that they pick up, and he's always wanted to fucking murder Ronan, but like. I don't know if I shared this story before.
To the point where he fucking summons the army.
Yeah. Just nuts.
Idiot.
And this was Dave Bautista's first acting role, and he just fucking nailed it. Like, he was great.
If you're going to be Bautista doing a role, that is the role you probably should be doing.
Oh, man, yeah. He just fucking owned that character. Like, he was great.
Because they don't really need him to talk a whole lot, and what he does say doesn't have to be exactly great when it comes to the speaking.
Yeah, like, you honestly, I mean, despite the fact, his reputation is as a WWE wrestler, you don't think of him as just, oh, they took this wrestler and threw a bunch of green shit on him. No, he was that character. He was fucking nuts, and it was great. Like, I don't know if I told the story whether or not how Chris Pratt got started, like,
mean homeless?
Yeah, because I think I might have mentioned it.
You talked about the Lego movie last week, and you mentioned it then.
Yeah, I probably have. Like, I probably have before, because he was homeless living in Maui, and when he got discovered, he was, like, he mentions that in, like, interviews. It's like, oh, man, that must have been awful. He's like, no, it was great. I was in Maui. I got to go to the beach whenever I wanted. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, Chris Pratt was perfect as Star-Lord, just because...
He's a very... positive outlook on life.
Just because he was, like, whoever Star-Lord was as a character, he just was that dude of, like, yeah, I love to listen to the same tape and fucking, yeah, whatever. Like, he's just awesome.
And when he kicks the shit out of the guy for taking his his Walkman.
Yeah. You almost said MP3 player. Like,
yes.
Walkman, what is this?
And the thing with things like that is that since it's already old to us, in the future it will be no less old.
Yeah, considering the fact that, like...
It kind of age-proofs the movie in that kind of sense.
Yeah. I just can't wait to see what, like, the eventual meeting is between the Guardians of the Galaxies and the Avengers. Like...
Because they have to use those characters.
That's gonna happen. I mean, well, the sequel's already confirmed for Phase 3. And they've already kind of hinted at the idea that, yeah, there's gonna be crossover with the Avengers and the Guardians. Like, I can't help but imagine, like, Tony Stark having a conversation with Star-Lord. It's like, you have rocket boots and blasters and you listen to a fucking Walkman? It's like, this is the greatest tape ever! And then just showing him what an MP3 player is and... Star-Lord losing his fucking mind, like, what is this? Like,
it's been a while since you last landed on Earth.
It's like, yeah, but I have rocket boots and fucking blasters, like, in a spaceship, like...
You want those laser blasters. Don't tell me you don't. You know you want them.
I can't help but seeing him and Tony Stark just compare. It's like, oh, what's that suit do? Oh, I have laser blasters. Oh, I got laser blasters.
Set blasters to shock your ass.
It's like, I have rocket boots. Oh, I got rocket boots. Well, I got this mask, and I can breathe anywhere. Oh, I got a mask, too. I can breathe anywhere. It's like, except I rock this sick-ass trench coat. Like, oh, man.
And I can fight while dancing.
Pretty much. Oh, yeah. Guardians of the Galaxy is fucking great. So, and I'm sure we could be on all day about this, but... Moving right along, some stuff that I did.
Turn.
Yeah, so of the couple things I did, let's get this out of the way.
Did you play Persona Q?
No, I don't own a 3DS. And I'm not going to talk about it again. But I've been playing Assassin's Creed 3, and...
Yes,
so,
you have!
Okay, so I'm up to sequence 6, like probably near the end of it. Here's the thing, like, I didn't go into this expecting it to be bad, you know? I try to keep
yes, you did!
I kept an open mind, and I was like, you know, I'm just gonna play this and see what it's like for myself. It's just that...
Sorry, my friend.
But
not that sorry.
And I know, like, last episode, I talked about how the fucking mission structure just sucks dick in ways that I just felt was fucking stupid. Oh, there goes the element of surprise. Like, there's no way to get past that part. Well, how can I surprise them when it's a scripted event? Fucking...
I love it.
But, you know, then I finally got past the part where Hatham and, what's-her-name, bump uglies, and, you know, and then Connor's born. I got past all the stuff with Connor, and the whole time, I'm sitting there just itching for when do I get the assassin's outfit? Because that's what I want. Like, I want to rock the...
Oh, that's a while.
I'm getting there. So, because I'll admit, you say what you want about Connor as a character or anything, his assassin outfit looked good, I thought. I didn't think it looked bad.
I thought it was decent. It looks a bit better than Ezio's clown suit.
It does. I liked it. So, I was waiting to get that suit. And, you know, and the whole time I'm running around in whatever, you know, Indian suit he's got on and everything. And by the way, I give the people at Ubisoft props, you know, as much as we shit on them, I give them props for incorporating the idea of having the Native American characters actually speak in a Native American language. You want to know hard languages to learn, try to learn any of the various languages that the Native Americans had. There is a reason they used that shit as code during some of our wars. That happened.
Yeah.
Because I saw Wind Talkers. Unless that movie lied to me, then I'm just wrong. But, yeah, so I give them props for that. For doing that. Not just having them speak English for the sake of speaking English. No, they actually speak to each other in their native tongue, which I thought was good. But basically, like, I'm just playing the game, like, I'm just itching to get to the part where it's like, when do I get my fucking assassin's outfit? When does this happen? And by the time I finally gotten it, I was like, yes, now I'm an assassin. And, you know, you see him grow up. I quit out of the game and went back to the menu. It took over 5 hours to get to that point. Fucking 5 hours.
It's like 2 hours to get through Hatham
And
section.
I'm at sequence 6.
2 hours.
I'm at sequence 6. I'm probably halfway through the game.
I think there might be like 10 or 12.
This is like a Michael Bay Transformers movie where like none of the good shit happens until like halfway, if that. Like, oh my god. And of course, you know, the other problems being how they tutorialize shit I'm already familiar with. Yeah, pay these dudes to lower wanted level, tear down wanted posters. Got it. Just fucking move on. Yeah, so now I'm at the point where like but the thing is, 5 hours, and now I finally feel like this is where the game opened up. Like, really?
And it didn't even really open up all that much.
No, I mean, and granted, there's a lot of shit on the map now. Like, you just open it up, and there's just fucking icons everywhere for stupid shit you probably don't care about. And I looked up, like, like on GameFAQs, like, what are some of the unlockables and stuff. Like, what's the incentive for collecting like all the stupid fucking feathers?
There ain't much, buddy. I'll tell you that.
No, there ain't. And here's the thing. This is what I thought was really stupid. Collecting all the feathers basically unlocks the Native American outfit that you started with before you become an assassin. I'm like,
yep.
What? Why the fuck do I want that? Like, first of all, that should just be unlocked already. I don't care who you are. The fact is that that's something he wore already. I shouldn't have to unlock that. And second, I busted my ass to finally get the assassin's robe. Why the fuck would I want to unlock the costume I was itching to get out of?
Once you go shank, you ain't never going back.
It's so dumb. Like, also I thought it was funny how, like, even on GameFAQs, you look up, like, what the costume unlockables are. Ezio's costume, buy on Uplay with action points.
I know.
Like, oh. Man. Like, Altair's costume is get 100% sync. Well, I know I'm not getting that.
I got that. It was not worth it.
No, I already said fuck 100% sync on some of those missions. Otherwise, because if I would have tried to do them, like, just repeating some of those...
just you wait. They get worse in their objectives.
Oh, I know. And also, just because I didn't do something exactly the way the game was wanted me to do it, some reason I don't get it. Like, when you're hunting and they tell you to get 100% sync, use bait along with a snare trap. Well, when I'm first learning about hunting, I was like, oh, I can't set down a snare unless there's something there. So I find, like, a thing where a bush, like a rabbit was eating off this bush. Oh, so I could put a snare here, and then I put bait, and for some reason that didn't count.
Yeah.
That's right. I was like, yeah, fuck you, game. Like, this is bullshit. Yeah, like, I almost feel like I should just save myself the trouble and say, not even, like, because there are...
Don't bother, trust me on that one, don't bother.
Yeah, there are some times where I feel like, well, maybe I can get 100% on this, but... Because the mission I'm on now, I think you have to actually assassinate one of the dudes, and to get 100%, you can't be seen. I'm having a lot of trouble with that, and the last time I was playing it, I just kind of rage quit, because I restarted a checkpoint like 3 times. I said, you know what? No, I'm not doing this today. I'm just... Oh, fuck that.
Yeah.
I do want to beat that game eventually, but I am taking a break from it for some other reasons. Like, I decided to play a little bit of Wolfenstein: The New Order.
Ooh, let's talk about that.
Oh yeah, opposite end of the spectrum. Holy shit. Okay, so I'm not too far into the game. I actually, like, I got to the first stage where after the game's title card is, which is... Because I guess, like, the stuff when you're actually in World War II, playing as B.J. Blazkowicz, you know, storming, like, the Nazi fortress...
Have you made the choice yet?
I did make the choice. That was fucking rough.
The one choice they give you in the entire game.
Yep. And, I let him kill the British guy. Because I felt like...
Fergus or the other guy?
Who was the British guy? Because the other guy is like this American kind of young soldier, which was one of the reasons.
No, that's Fergus.
Okay, yeah, because the younger guy, like, that was why I let the British guy get it, simply because I felt so bad for that other guy. Like, he was just a kid almost as a soldier. Like,
almost, he pretty much was.
Yeah. I mean, and you know, that was the thing. I mean, people were fucking drafted in World War II, and granted, this is when Nazis have like fucking laser guns. And
I mean, that choice between wrong and wrong. So.
Yeah, it really is. And I kind of give them props for doing that, because it's... Whew. but it does affect the game.
Yeah.
In ways that
in ways you wouldn't even anticipate it did.
Nope. I already know, like, there are some characters you will and won't meet depending on who you choose, which is interesting. But yeah, like I said, I've only gotten so far into the game, and I played, the scene where you fight your way out of the hospital. And by the way, there is a little bit of, the whole ludocognitive dissonance in, like, the story and the gameplay.
Yeah.
Which is obvious. But the thing is, and what I find is funny, is that not a lot of people give this game as much shit as they did with, like, say, Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
Right? Right? Because you remember Tomb Raider, like, everybody was ready to pick that game apart. Like, oh, she gets stabbed in the stomach. Yes, she's perfectly fine. Like, BJ Blazkowicz, like, this isn't really spoiling anything, because this is, like, in the first, like, near the beginning of the game, after you finish the part in World War II, like, he's been in a hospital for 16 years, kind of brain dead, and then he, like, gets up out of a wheelchair and, like, slashes this Nazi dude's neck.
No real reason.
No.
He just chose that one day out of all days to wake up.
Well, I guess it was just the trauma of, like, Nazis are doing shit, time I do something, and, like, people who have been hospitalized and haven't been able to move around a lot, they can't just stand right up. And what's funny was, I thought the game was going to acknowledge that, because, like, he gets up, he's been sitting in that wheelchair for 16 years, and he just gets up and fucking...
He shouldn't even know how to walk right now.
Yeah. Like, he gets up out of that wheelchair, and he fucking slices this dude's throat open, and then he kind of falls down, he's like, oh man, legs feel like jelly, hands are numb, and I got the worst headache ever. And I'm like, oh man, how's that going to affect this level? But he just gets right... No, it doesn't. Like, he just gets right back up. It's like, okay, sure. It's like they acknowledge it, and then they don't. It's funny. It's like, he shouldn't be able to walk, but he takes on a whole Nazi army. And granted, I know this is a game that, while it takes itself seriously, I'm gonna be fighting Nazis on the moon eventually. I think I've heard that happens.
Yeah.
I'm going to be disappointed if it doesn't now. But yeah, so I got past that section, and I'm on to, like, the first real level, like, after he gets his coat, and you have to, like, kill all the Nazis at the checkpoint and stuff. So, yeah, that game's so fucking good. Like, and it's also another one of the reasons I feel really, really good about this video card upgrade.
It plays really well.
I feel really good about this video card upgrade, because it looks gorgeous. Oh my god, it looks great.
Yeah, it does look really good, and I do find amusing though that the strongest weapon against Nazis was Hitler's master race.
Oh, man, it's whew.
You know what I'm talking about? How he's basically a blonde-haired beefcake white boy.
Kind of. Yeah. I mean, I think he probably started with brown hair originally, like when you wanted to think back on, like, the 3 frames of animation that was BJ Blazkowicz in the original Wolfenstein.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, this game, I haven't even gotten that far, and already I care more about these characters than I have in other games.
It's amazing how they do that, even though the gameplay is arcadey as hell.
Yeah, the execution is fucking fantastic. Like, this is a great fucking game. Like, so yeah, I am totally looking forward to finishing this. Although I took a break from it simply because, like, I was having a little trouble in there, and like I had said, I had played it kind of from start to that point, and I was like, yeah, I should stop now, because it does take a while to get to that point, and then after like the probably 4th real area where you go and get into.
What kind of perks do you have unlocked yet?
Not a whole lot. Like I said, I got to like the first real mission after you leave that house, when, like, dude sets you up with a leather jacket, and it's like, kill all the Nazis, and it's like, okay, sure. But then I go in the wrong way and get murdered. Like, well, that's the wrong way to do it.
Yep. That's pretty much how the game goes.
Yeah,
and I like that. There's nothing wrong with that style.
No, it is good. It harkens back to an earlier time. So, props.
In a good way, not in a bad way.
So the final...
There are a lot of times you use old mechanics terribly. This is not one of those times.
Yeah, but it is still a fucking good game. Like, you can overcharge your health and everything. Like, that's probably the only thing I kind of don't like, is how you have to pick up everything.
Yeah.
But that's a minor nitpick compared to just how fucking great everything else is. Like, yeah, good game. Good.
It is a very solid game.
You're playing that on PS4, aren't you?
I played it on PS4. I already beat it.
Oh man.
I chose the other guy when I made my choice.
Oh, the American guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, that's fucking. And the thing is,
I figured that BJ knew him better, so it would make more sense for him to choose the guy he already knows a lot.
The thing was,
I didn't know the other guy that well. That's pretty on. But that's why I picked the guy. I picked Ferguson or the other guy because I just didn't know him that well.
Yeah, like I let Ferguson get it simply because I felt bad for the American kid, and I was like, oh man, this.
Yeah.
And like the seasoned vet, he was probably going to be more okay with it than the other dude screaming in terror, even though you still hear the other dude scream in terror.
Just flat out, I knew Fergus better than the other guy. That was the only reason. There was no other reason.
Yeah.
It's an unfortunate reality. I feel shitty justifying my
yeah, but that's war, man.
That's how I justified it.
Yep. But man, like the shit this game goes into, like I'm really looking forward to seeing like how the story goes. Like it's fucking enthralling.
It's really good.
So, I'm going to keep playing that. But something else I have to mention.
Sure.
This is all Sam's fault. I'm maybe not entirely, but I've been playing Destiny.
You've been playing. Oh, we can't go one podcast.
No. And
so, what did you think of Destiny?
So here's the thing. Like, my main motivation for playing this game is basically twofold. Of one, min-maxing whatever character I build, and playing with people I know. That's it.
Okay. So what platform are you playing it on?
I'm playing it on 360, so I bought this on sale. I bought the digital version. So guess what? I now own my first X-Bone game because it comes with the digital Xbox One version of the game also.
I see.
And so how I spent my New Year's was
Do they have cross-platform compatibility with the Xbox 360 and Xbox One?
You can't cross-play with people, but your character can go between the two.
I see. That's
because I remember
okay. I understand. That's enough.
Yeah, because I remember on Giant Bomb they were talking about that, how like that's how it was with like the Sony versions of like.
It's actually a pretty good way to do it. That way you can play the same game on both systems and you don't lose anything. Kind of like crossplay for PS3 and PS Vita.
Yeah, because the big thing was like with the character data, like it's not even saved locally. I've heard that like Bungie saves that shit on whatever servers. Because the whole thing of, like, they treat it like an MMO. So it's like, sure, whatever. But, because it's like, as long as you sign in with the same account, then it's like, oh, your character's here, and then you can just use them. So, to that, because I remember that was a big thing of, like, cross-platform play, even between, like, something like PS4 to PS3, or Xbone to 360. They didn't want to do that because players on last-gen systems would have had a disadvantage because, and this was what Bungie said, is that players on current-gen systems like the Xbone and PS4, they would have had an advantage because they have a system with a greater draw distance.
Yeah.
They would be able to see dudes farther away than you'd... And especially in competitive multiplayer, yeah, that would have been a big issue. So, I don't fault them for that. Yeah, this game... Like I said, I go into this game already knowing some of the stuff I do about the story. Like, I already knew, like, oh, you're gonna there's a lot of characters that just say, like, like, here's the speaker, the stranger, the fucking fallen, the vex.
The darkness.
Yeah, the traveler, and it's like... And even, like, some of the characters that you also speak to, the queen, and then there's this dude, the queen's brother. He's not given a name. He's just... Yeah, he's not given a name. He's just the queen...
The king's brother?
He really is just the Queen's brother. He's not given a name beyond that. Even if you go in the fucking Grimoire system, and because I'm a dumbass, I downloaded their fucking... Well, I wouldn't say I'm a dumbass for doing this, but I downloaded their fucking companion app on my phone.
Their app is dumbass. Well,
yeah. I downloaded their companion app on my phone, and basically, like, the Grimoire cards that you unlock, like, I felt it was easier to just do it on my phone rather than, like, go to their fucking website, because this whole stupid thing of, like, Grimoire card, go to Bungie.net for more, like, that still irks me.
If you want to know why this thing exists, go to Bungie.net and review the import card you just unlocked.
It still irks me, the idea that you couldn't put this in an in-game codex. You couldn't...
I guarantee you they get at least twice as many views if they would just put Grimoire cards as an option in the pause menu.
Yeah, absolutely. But no,
like just go back to town, or just make it like something you can view in town, like in a gallery or something.
Yeah, but they don't even do that. Like, that's fucking disgusting. And the idea that I have to read some ancillary bullshit, because this game, it just throws all kinds of terms and bullcrap at you, assuming you're supposed to know what it is, when obviously we don't. And, like, man, just fucking... So that aside, the action and the actual gameplay. Here's the thing about Destiny: it's something that has good mechanics, but it doesn't really have anything else around it. Like the shooting, the controls feel tight. The shooting feels okay. Like it's not that bad.
It's just that everything else is kind of
yeah. And I will admit, I spent my New Year's playing this with a friend of mine. And she and I, we just kind of went through, we were tooling around, doing stuff, and she was kind of showing me, because she, I'm just starting out, and she's, level 28. And so she knows a good amount about the game, and she's just showing me, all this other stuff of, oh, yeah, here's how you can get some experience, and here's how you can, grind faster, and all this other crazy stuff. And, and I thought that was kind of fun, just going around with her, and if I get an X-Bone, hopefully sometime in the near future, I'll be able to play with Sam. Because that was the other reason. It was he's digging it, and granted, I don't know what Sam's bar for quality is, considering he plays some stupid stuff. But
well, so do you. Remember, you guys are the ones that play Colonial Marines together.
Yeah, that's true. But it's not like we're enjoying that. And although, granted, and
Dead Space 3,
I'm not going to get into that with you again. Not when I'm talking about fucking Destiny.
Just name dropping. I'm dropping that name.
But even Sam, kind of said, the mechanics, the shooting feels okay, and it's actually not too bad. Bungie still knows how to make a shooter. I give them that. The guns look good. They
just don't know how to make an MMO. That's the problem.
Yeah, and this, that's the other kind of disappointing thing about this, is that I think they just pushed too hard to try to make this like an MMO, because it's not like you have a game with separate areas. Like there are story missions, but it's not like you're going to have separate areas. You will be playing through the same area over and over again. They're just set open maps. And granted, the maps look pretty, but you're going to be trouncing around the same area over and over again. And the lay of the land, and the only time that's going to change is when you get DLC that adds new areas. So it's weird. I'm glad I didn't pay full price for it. I bought it for $45 when it was on sale.
Did you get DLC for it?
No, not yet. That'll probably be something I would do eventually, because why the fuck not? I've gone this far. It does not take long to level up in that game either, because I've really only been playing it for a few days.
Yeah,
and I've already gotten my guy up to level 8.
I only played an hour of the beta, and I hear the beta and the way it works is very, very similar, almost the exact same.
Well, I know.
I was level 8 within the first hour.
Yeah, I've been playing for a few days. I'm already up to level 18. So, yeah. I guess I won't fault it too much for that. Although, and I think, I didn't play this on launch, obviously, but, because the loot system was broken, I seem to be finding a good amount of loot often, so I guess that's okay, but...
Are you finding enough loot that you're actually using?
Yeah, I'm changing out equipment, left and right sometimes, so... And that's kind of what I wanted out of this, so... Although I've heard, it's after you get to level 20, the loot game starts to suck shit, but whether or not they've patched that, I don't know.
Well, yeah, the whole thing is that at that point, your leveling up is dependent entirely upon your equipment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Once you get to level 20, that's all the experience you'll ever win, but you will be able to get more levels through getting better, higher level equipment.
Yep, that is essentially how it works, because, like my friend showed me, she's at level 28, and the reason for that being is because she has a helmet that gives her 8 light. Light is a stat that armor has. And because it is at 8, she's at level 28.
Well, I mean, you need the light to fight the darkness.
Yep, basically. And I'm fighting fucking dark.
When did you get your Keyblade?
I'm fighting that fucking darkness. I just don't know why. Because that's, again, I know we bitch about the story, but it's like, I don't know why the Fallen and all this shit has beef with the Traveler.
Well, no, it's simple. The darkness collects people's hearts. You use the Keyblade to kill them and free the hearts.
Is the Keyblade a gun?
No, it's what's called a Keyblade.
Does it have a clip? Like, do I load it? Is it like, what kind of gun is that? Is it a rocket launcher? Is it a hand cannon? Is it a scout rifle?
It shoots ice.
Is it a sniper rifle? Does it have a scope on it? I don't know.
You hit things with it.
Yeah, I'm like I said, I'm not hating the time I've spent with Destiny, but at the same time, there are times when I feel like, yeah, I want to get through this, but there are other times when I feel like I'm just doing busy work. Like, it's just, like, I'm on, like, not only am I on the treadmill of this game, but I'm feeling it, you know? Because that's the other thing of, like...
Let me rephrase this question. If someone were to come into your house and rob only Destiny and nothing else, would you be very mad or just a little bit mad?
Well, first of all, they'd have to take my 360 hard drive, because that's how I bought it. I didn't buy a physical copy. But
okay, let's see someone hacked in and just took that from your account.
They just took that?
Yeah, nothing else.
It'd probably be a minor inconvenience. Because it's not like they can get my character.
True.
And it's still... I don't know. It's... Like I said, I am very, very... Like... There is a purgatory of opinion for me on this game, to where it's like, I realize there was a lot of really gross stuff that they fucked up with this game, obviously because of whatever, like, I still feel like whatever that Reddit post was saying about how story content got cut is starting to feel like it was more legitimate the more I play this.
Mm.
And like how their fucking producer just walked out because Activision didn't want to alienate the Call of Duty crowd, but it's... like I said,
I mean, that's kind of funny because Activision already has something that appeals to that crowd, which is called Call of Duty.
Mm-hmm. Advanced Warfare was pretty good, actually.
Yeah. The war-winning actor Kevin Spacey.
Yep. I love how no one acknowledges what his character's name is in that game. It's just Kevin Spacey.
His name is Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, it's just Kevin Spacey.
Kevin Spacey plays Kevin Spacey's character.
As he pushes X to pay tribute.
That's our new title for this week. Kevin Spacey plays Kevin Spacey's character.
We didn't even talk about Call of Duty, though. Shut up. Yeah, Destiny, we've bitched ad nauseum. Probably said the same thing a lot of other people are saying, but it's like, I bought it at a discounted price. Maybe to some people $45 was probably too much, but now I've got the Xbox One version, and then Sam and I can play that fucking mess when we get around to it. But like I said, when I played with my friend on New Year's, I didn't have a bad time.
You have an Xbox One already, or are you planning to get one soon?
No, I hope to get one. As I'd mentioned on the show, there are actually a good number of exclusives on there that actually I do feel genuinely curious about.
Sunset Overdrive.
That and Killer Instinct, and Forza Horizon 2 looks good. So D4, Dark Dreams Don't Die, I've got to play that. I have to get that. That's my must-have right there. Because fucking sweary. I think with that, though, might be a good spot to end this. This madness.
Yeah.
I'll walk out on my shame that, after all the bitching I've done, I still...
Don't be ashamed of buying Destiny.
I kind of feel like I am, though, because of all this shit we've said.
Well, that's your personal problem, man.
Yeah, I know. I honestly do, because of all the bitching and moaning I've done about that game.
One should never be ashamed of the games that they are interested in.
Yeah,
unless they're Barbie games. That way you should be ashamed of.
Yeah, you totally should, especially after that last one. That whole thing. It's just this robot dream house. Like, why the fuck is that installed in there? Oh, man. Yeah, so hopefully... next week we'll probably have Sam and Garrett back in the saddle after they've done with
further
business.
Down the rabbit hole here.
Yeah, after listen to Sam bitch about all the shit we're talking about. Like, damn it, did you talk about this again? And
let's have Sam and Chris compare Destiny notes.
Yeah, because he's been playing it too, except on Xbone. Yeah, and as always, like we mentioned earlier, if you want to send an email, ask us a question, feel free to leave one in the comments, or you can email us at thetexturepop@gmail.com. And be sure to like, subscribe. I can't even say subscribe right. That's what Destiny does to you. Yeah, like, subscribe, favorite if you like, whatever. Or don't.
And like I said earlier, my Persona Q article went up yesterday as the time is recording. So check that out when you get a chance. I talk about the game's pacing and how it could have been improved.
And if you're really bored, you can follow us on the Twitter.
Or if you're not bored, you follow us on Twitter, because we say a lot of weird shit.
Sometimes we do. Yeah, sometimes I do too.
You don't tweet as often as I do.
I don't, but when I do, it's gold. That's how my Twitter works. I only save it for the times I really need to.
I'm not always tweeting. When I do, I tweet Dos Equis.
No, I just tweet me, but because I'm more interesting than that guy. I totally am. Don't
Episode 22, more interesting than that guy.
Whatever. But thanks for listening. Feel free to tune in next week. Later.
Later, taters.